The catastrophic flood referred to as Omiyale, meaning water has flooded the house, occurred in Ibadan on the 31st of August 1980. This disaster was triggered by the overflowing of the Ogunpa River into the Oduona River. Both rivers, branched or breached their banks, resulting into one of the most devastating floods in Ibadan's history. The 31st of August 1980 flood brought international attention to the Ogunpa River. And after about 10 years of heavy rainfall recorded as 4 times heavier than the flood in 1978, the city of Ibadan was left in ruins. More than 100 bodies were recovered from the debris of the collapsed buildings and vehicles that were swept away by the torrent. The disaster claimed over 200 lives and left more than 50,000 people homeless. And at the time, Chief Bola Ige was the governor of Oyo State, while Alhaji Shehu Shagari was Nigeria's president. Ibadan, known for its hilly terrain and a network of rivers and streams such as Oduona, Ogbere, Ogunpa, and Kudeti, is a city, plagued by poor urban planning, as recorded, and inadequate drainage systems. Residents often disregard building regulations, constructing homes near riverbanks, and dumping refuse into waterways. These factors combined have contributed to recurrent flooding in the city. And prior to 1980, Ibadan experienced significant floods in 1960, in 1963, in 1978, and again in 2011, which severely impacted the University of Ibadan, causing the loss of animals at the University of Ibadan Zoo. Today on Inside Oyo State, we are going to be looking at flooding again, and we are going to be taking a cue from the disaster that happened in Niger State, where about 153 are already dead as we speak. That's our conversation on Inside Oyo State today. Welcome to the show. And on that note, I welcome you to the program Inside Oyo State for this week on Wells Radio 89.3 FM, Oyo State #1 family radio station, Ìkànnì Àkọ́kọ́ fún gbogbo mọ̀lẹ́bí ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. And that is this dial, 89.3 FM, both in Oyo State and internationally. You can receive and connect with us on your radio dial. It is 89.3 FM. And online across our streaming platforms, Wells Radio 89.3 FM. You find us on Facebook, Wells Radio 893 FM fan page. On YouTube, Wells Radio 89.3 FM. My name is Ayo Emmanuel-Ojo. This is the program where we look at issues in Oyo State, situation in Oyo State. We bring real-life solution to them. This is the platform where we also encourage Oyo residents and Oyo, people to join the conversation, share their thoughts, so that we can together build a state that we all can be very and very proud of. Once again, you're welcome to the program. Lórí ètò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́, a máa sọ lédè Yorùbá, bẹ́ẹ̀ náà la máa sọ lédè Gẹ̀ẹ́sì, láti rí pé gbogbo olùgbọ́ wa pátápátá àti gbogbo àwọn tó wà nílé pátápátá la ayọ̀ ẹnìkan sílẹ̀, gbogbo yín pátápátá lẹ́ ń tẹ̀lé wa, lẹ́ ń bá wa lọ lórí ètò yìí. Orí ètò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ láti máa fún gbogbo olùgbé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ pátápátá láǹfààní láti lè sọ̀rọ̀ síta nípa àwọn ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àdúgbò wọn, nípa àwọn nǹkan tí wọ́n fẹ́ pe àkíyèsí ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ sí, nípa àwọn nǹkan tí wọ́n ń là kọjá ní àdúgbò àti ní agbègbè wọn, báwo ló ṣe ń lọ ládùúgbò yín, bó lójú ọjọ́ ṣe rí pẹ̀lú ètò ìjọba ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. Ṣé ládùúgbò tiyín ṣẹ́yìn tí ẹ̀ ń jàǹfààní ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ rárá? Ṣẹ́yìn ń jàǹfààní iṣẹ́ àti àwọn nǹkan tó ń lọ nígboro ládùúgbò tiyín? Ṣé tá a bá bi yín, ṣé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ lẹ̀ ń gbé? Ṣẹ́yìn á lè sọ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni? Ṣé inú yín dùn pẹ̀lú bádùúgbò yín ṣe rí? Kí ni àwọn nǹkan tẹ́ wá fẹ́ kí ìjọba ó ṣe fún yín gan-an ládùúgbò tiyín? Màmá tó wà lọ́jà, bàbá tó wà lẹ́nu iṣẹ́, bàdá tó wà lórí ọ̀kadà tó ti fi fóònù sínú akoto wọn tó ń gbọ́ báyìí, bọ̀dá tó wà nínú kẹ̀kẹ́ tẹ̀yìn náà ti yín sókè lálálá tẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa ẹ ti yín sókè díẹ̀ sí i nítorí pé ètò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ètò gbogbo wa ni lórí ètò yìí lẹ́ẹ̀tì máa bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àdúgbò tiyín àti nǹkan tí ẹ fẹ́ kí ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ kí wọ́n ṣe fún yín ibi tí ẹ fẹ́ kán ti wọlé àti iṣẹ́ tí ẹ fẹ́ kí wọ́n ṣe lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ètò yìí fún ọ̀sẹ̀ tòní a máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa omíyalé fún ọ̀sẹ̀ tòní a máa sọ̀rọ̀ nípa omíyalé àgbàrá òyà ṣọ́ọ̀bù èyí tó jẹ́ ìpèníjà ńlá fún wa ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ńgbà tí mo wọlé lẹ́ẹ̀kan mo ka ọ̀rọ̀ kan síta tó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú bí omíyalé bó ti ṣe ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ nígbà yẹn ni mo sọ fún wa pé ṣáájú 1980 ní ìlú Ìbàdàn ti ní omíyalé àgbàrá ya ṣọ́ọ̀bù tó ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ìlú Ìbàdàn yìí ní 1960 ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní 1963 ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní 1978 ó ṣẹlẹ̀ èyí tó súnmọ́ wa jùlọ tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wa ò ní gbàgbé òun lè tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ọdún 2021 àmọ́ pẹ̀lú ìròyìn tó ń tẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́ nípa ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Niger báyìí ibi tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn tó ti jẹ́ Ọlọ́run nípè tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ dúkìá tó dẹ̀ ti di nǹkan tó ti bá omi lọ bí a ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí lára àwọn ìpínlẹ̀ tí àjọ tó ń rí bí ojú ọjọ́ bó ṣe rí àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ tí wọ́n ní kí ó múra sílẹ̀ o fún òjò tó ń bọ̀ kò ní yà yín lẹ́nu àbí pé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ àtúwà ń bẹ̀ kí làwọn nǹkan tí a ti ṣe sílẹ̀ what are the things that we have done is there any blueprint looking at the history already 1980 1960 63 78 2011 do we have any blueprint? Has the government done anything whatsoever to ensure that subsequently in Oyo State, say 50 years from now, ní gbọ́ nǹkan tó ń jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ mọ́? Ṣé àwọn èèyàn ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ bọ́n ti ẹ̀ rántí bóyá fáwọn tó bá kéré jọjọ tọdún 2011 ń kọ́ ṣé kò yẹ kó rán ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn létí àbí ká ní gbogbo àwọn tó ti ẹ̀ rí nǹkan yìí ńgbà tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ńgbà yẹn bóyá ká ní gbogbo wọn ò gbé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ mọ́ wọ́n ti lọ ìpínlẹ̀ míì àwọn èèyàn tuntun ló ti wà nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ kí ni nǹkan tá a lè ṣe what exactly can we do to ensure that this do not happen again? We'll be looking at that on the program Inside Oyo State today. I have two gentlemen in the studio, but before I bring them to the microphone, àkọ́kọ́ ṣe abala àkọ́kọ́ lórí ètò yìí ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ níbẹ̀ ni mo ti máa ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ gbogbo olùgbé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ pátá níbikíbi tí ẹ ti ń gbọ́ ètò yìí bóyá ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa láti Ọlọ́run ṣògo ẹ̀yin ń gbọ́ wa láti Ìwó Road ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa láti Challenge ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa láti Podó ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa láti Mọ́kọ́lá ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ wa láti Mọ́níyà ibikíbi tí ìbá jẹ́ ní ìlú Ìbàdàn tàbí ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àdúgbò tìyín ẹ bọ̀ wá gbọ́ kí làwọn nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tẹ́ fẹ́ kí ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ó dìde sí báyìí ọ̀rọ̀ máa ń jẹ́ emergency jura wọn lọ kí ni nǹkan tẹ́yìn lè pè ní emergency ládùúgbò tìyín tí mo ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí tẹ́tí ń wò pé káàtì ẹ̀rọ àǹfààní láti pe rédíò kan ní ká sọ̀rọ̀ kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ládùúgbò tiwa àǹfààní tẹ́tí ń bèrè yẹn òun leléyìí kí ni nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ládùúgbò tìyín ṣé bíríìjì àdúgbò tìyín ó ti gé ó ti já dànù ilé ẹ̀kọ́ alákọ̀ọ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ ẹ̀ ní ilé ìwòsàn ẹ̀ ní security kò sí bábánbárí gbogbo ẹ̀ káwá tiẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ ná kò sí nǹkan tó kan àdúgbò tìyín pẹ̀lú ná nítorí pé ẹ̀yin ò níná ó ti pẹ́ tẹ́ ẹ ti tanná ládùúgbò yín bóyá ọdún 10 lẹ ti tanná bóyá ọdún 12 ọdún 2 ọdún 1 ọdún 6 iye ọdún tí ìbá jẹ́ ẹ pè sórí ètò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ kẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká mọ̀ bẹ́yìn ṣe ń sọ àwa á máa kọ́lẹ̀ gbogbo ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ pátápátá yóò máa gbọ́ àǹfààní tọ́lọ́run bá dẹ̀ fún wa láti fi ràn yín lọ́wọ́ láti rí pé irú iṣẹ́ yẹn ó jẹ́ ṣíṣe àwa á tún ṣe é 0916-893-1000 0916-893-2000 tàbí 0915-3334-893 lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí ẹ jẹ́ n tún tún àwọn nọ́mbà yẹn mú 0916-893-1000 0916-893-2000 tàbí 0915 3 lọ́nà mẹ́ta ìyẹn ẹ̀ta lọ́nà mẹ́ta 4893. àwọn ojú òpó tí a fi sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́sàn-án nìyẹn. kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àdúgbò tiyín? hello ẹ káàsán. hello ẹ káàsán. hello ẹ káàsán, ẹ ti wọlé o. ẹ káàsán sá, orúkọ yín sá àti bọ́lá tí ń pè.
àwọn ènìyàn jàre ẹ̀dẹ̀ kú afẹ́rẹ́ ìta.
ẹ ṣeun gan sá, orúkọ yín sá àti bọ́lá tí ń pè.
This Prophet Oluwatobiloba at Oluyole.
All right, good afternoon. All right, good afternoon.
Ẹ káàsán.
Yes, ẹ ṣeun gan sá.
So, èmi náà ni alámòjútó school yẹn as a chairman PTA.
That's Oluwode Primary School, right?
Yeah, school 2.
That's Oluyole Extension. Across the express.
Yes.
All right,
yes.
All right, sir.
Yes, school yẹn so lóòótọ́ àwọn òbí náà ti gbìyànjú díẹ̀ náà. So a rí pé àwọn classes méjì ń bẹ̀ ó ti mẹ́ta ó ti là.
Okay.
ó yẹ pé àwọn ọmọ kéékèèké ló dẹ̀ sì wà nù ẹ̀. So bàtà rẹ̀ pé mi ṣàkíyèsí yẹn mo sáré rọ̀ṣì lọ síbẹ̀ ṣé mo pé òjò yẹn rọ̀ ní àná yẹn tí atẹ́gùn yẹn fẹ́ gan. So mo wá wò ó ti ká àwọn pààrọ̀ kan abala kan láàrin kan bẹ̀ gan. So ní ọ́fíìsì àwọn teachers wọn. So àwọn ìwé wọn gan tẹ̀sí òyìnbó yẹn gan tilẹ̀ pa àwọn ọ̀bá díẹ̀ ńbẹ̀. So a ṣáà try láti lọ pe àwọn weathers láti ṣe àwọn windows kan bẹ̀ bíi díẹ̀díẹ̀ kan bẹ̀ tẹ̀sí. Ìgbà tí mo wá rí i pé kí la fẹ́ ṣe torí ẹ̀dẹ̀mọ̀ àwọn òbí lóòótọ́ a máa ń pe meeting this thing. So àdè máa ń ṣiṣẹ́ dẹ̀ mọ̀ èmi wà tó jẹ́ pé náà ọmọ yẹn tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n wà lọ́dọ̀ àwọn ẹlòmíì tó jẹ́ pé kì í ṣe àwọn ló bí wọn.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
so ti yé bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn sí so àwọn ló pọ̀ jù nínú school yẹn jù. So tábà ní pé báyìí àdè gbọ́dọ̀ powó.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
So tábà powó dẹ̀ lè ṣàkóbá bá àwọn teachers wọn rò bí ìfẹ́ bóyá teachers ló fowó yẹn jẹ àdọ́nà. So ní àwọn changes tó rẹ̀ wálẹ̀ gan-an àjẹ́ káwọn tíṣà fọwọ́ kàn ní àwọn òbí yẹn náà ló ń kó dání. So changes tó rẹ̀ wálẹ̀ lásáré lọ gbà láàárọ̀ láti ṣe àwọn videos níbi méjì kan tó kó má lọ yẹ láwọn ọmọ yẹn lórí. So mo dẹ̀ ní ti ẹ̀pù ìjọba wa
ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́
pé ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ kan jọ pé kọ́lọ́run lédè máa yóò wà pẹ̀lú wọn Ọlọ́run á ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́.
ẹ ṣé gan prof mo ti mú nọ́mbà yín ṣẹ́gbọ́n mi sà. mo ti mú nọ́mbà yín màá pè yín lẹ́yìn ètò tó bá jẹ́ pé nǹkan sí òṣèpọ̀ jìnnà sí iléeṣẹ́ wa púpọ̀ tó bá jẹ́ nǹkan tí a ní ìdí láti wáka sílẹ̀ bí a pẹ̀lú kámẹ́rà ká tún fi sí orí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára wa kí ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ náà bá lè rí akitiyan tí ẹ̀yin òbí àti ará àdúgbò náà ń ṣe láti rí i pé ilé ẹ̀kọ́ alákọ̀ọ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ yẹn kò dín nǹkan tá tó pa àwọn ọmọ lára. ẹ ṣeun gan prof ẹ kú iṣẹ́.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
This is Prophet Oluwatobiloba. Yes,
thank you so much, Professor. Thank you so much. God bless you.
Yes,
thank you so much. All right. I mean, this is one of the beautiful things when you see residents of the state and even parents ensuring that the government property do not just go down like that. Ó máa ń bà mí inú jẹ́ lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìgbà. Tẹ́ bá rí àwọn àdúgbò tí bí wọ́n ní ilé ẹ̀kọ́ alákọ̀ọ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ àbí ilé ẹ̀kọ́ girama tí wọ́n fi sọ orúkọ àdúgbò yẹn gan, ẹ rí i pé iṣẹ́ tí àwọn ará àdúgbò náà lè ṣe kéékèèké láti fi kí ìjọba lọ́wọ́ ó wà ń bẹ̀ ṣùgbọ́n wọn kì í ṣe é. Ṣùgbọ́n inú mi dùn pó tiẹ̀ jẹ́ pé ọ̀mọ̀wé ni ẹni tó pè wá tí wọ́n tún jẹ́ pòfẹ́sọ̀. Mo mọ̀ pé àǹfààní táwọn ọmọ yẹn nílé ẹ̀kọ́ yẹn á tún rí jẹ lára tiwọn ó tún pọ̀ gan. Ẹ ṣeun gan. Ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ Olúọdẹ Primary School ni wọ́n pe ilé ẹ̀kọ́ alákọ̀ọ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ yẹn. Téèyàn bá wà ní Akala Express tó bá wọlé láti Olùsọjí ń bì tó bá bọ́ sí Express tó bá ti sún síwájú díẹ̀ lódì kejì báyìí ní ilé ẹ̀kọ́ alákọ̀ọ́bẹ̀rẹ̀ yẹn wà. A máa bẹ ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ láti dìde ran ilé ẹ̀kọ́ yìí lọ́wọ́ kó má tún di nǹkan tí a pa àwọn ọmọ lára níbi tí wọ́n bá ti ń kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ wọn bẹ̀. Ojú òpó ó sì wà ní ṣíṣílẹ̀ fún gbogbo wa 0916-893-1000 0916-893-2000 tàbí 0915-3334-893 lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí 0916 893 1000, 0916 893 2000, or 0915 3334 893. Àwọn ojú òpó tí a fi sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́sàn-án ìní ẹ̀ kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àdúgbò tiyín tẹ́ fẹ́ kí ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ kán dìde ìrànlọ́wọ́ sí, tàbí tẹ́ fẹ́ kán mọ̀ pé tẹ́yìn ò bá sọ àwa ò lè mọ̀. That is the real truth. If you don't tell us, we cannot know. So why don't you just pick your phone now? Ẹ mú fóònù yín báyìí kẹ́ ẹ pè wá wọlé kẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ àmọ́ iná kò sí, ọ̀nà kò sí. Mo ní special interest nínú àwọn àdúgbò tí gádà àwọn ti já, areas with bad bridges or dilapidated bridges. I'm very interested in having that conversation and knowing more about these areas, especially with the heavy downpour that we are going to be getting in the coming days. I'm very interested in communities like that. Tádùgbò tí yín bá bọ́ sírú àdúgbò tí mo sọ yẹn, ẹ jẹ́ ká mọ̀ ń pẹ́ lórí ètò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́, ká fi rédíò ká tó fi ṣe ìdàgbàsókè àti ìgbédìde àdúgbò àti agbègbè wa, kó má kọ̀ jẹ́ pé à ń fi rédíò ṣe entertainment, à ń gbádùn ara wa nìkan. Ẹ má gbàgbé ìkànnì àkọ́kọ́ lélẹ́yìí fún gbogbo mọ̀lẹ́bí ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. Tí mọ̀lẹ́bí ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ tí ni wọ́n bá ti dùn, inú tiwa náà ó ti dùn náà nìyẹn. Nítorí náà ẹ dìde, ẹ mú fóònù yín, ẹ pè wá, ẹ jẹ́ a mọ̀ kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àdúgbò tiyín. Lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí máa fi nọ́mbà síta kí a tó lọ fún ìsinmi ráńpẹ́. Tí ẹ̀yin bá fẹ́ sáré kọ nọ́mbà yẹn sílẹ̀, màá lọ fún ìsinmi ráńpẹ́. Tí n bá wá dé, màá gbé àwọn àlejò mi wọlé. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà a sì tún máa gba ìpè sí láti mọ nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àdúgbò yín. 0916 893 1000, 0916 893 2000, or 0915 333 ìyẹn 3 lọ́nà mẹ́ta 4893. Ojú òpó tí a fi sọ̀rọ̀ lọ́sàn-án yìí lórí ètò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ òun náà nìyẹn. Ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ yìí ojúṣe gbogbo wa ni. Bóyá a jẹ́ ọmọ ìpínlẹ̀ yìí tó fi orí tó jẹ́ pé bíi ni baba ńlá bàbá wa ni wọ́n ti bí wọn, tàbí àwa tó yẹ pé àwa ṣe okòwò ń bí, àwa ṣiṣẹ́ ń bí, àbọ̀n ti ẹ̀ gbé wa wọ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. Èyí tó wù tí ìbàjẹ́ tó bá ti jẹ́ afẹ́fẹ́ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ báyìí là ń mí sínú, là ń mí síta. Ó ti di dandan kí gbogbo wa jọ fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ láti rí i pé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ kò bàjẹ́. Ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ó dẹ̀ di ìpínlẹ̀ tó ń tẹ̀síwájú. Ẹ jẹ́ a sáré dókè lọ́hùn. Tá a bá padà dé, omíyalé, àgbàrá ya ṣọ́ọ̀bù, flooding is what we will be looking at in Oyo State. We'll be, backtracking, looking at history and what we can do, if there is any, to rewrite this, bad history, so to say, hanging on Oyo State, and to ensure that we do not have a reoccurrence of flooding again in our state. We'll look at that and more when we come back. Please stay with us.
Efile Emma Yikuro, Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Níbẹ̀ gangan lẹ́wà.
Tẹ́ ẹ bá fẹ́ polówó ọjà yín lórí rédíò, tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ máa ta wàràwàrà bọ́ mẹ́ta ṣe ń tà. West Radio ní kẹ́ ẹ máa bọ̀ o. Àfẹ̀tiwa gbé tiyín lárugẹ. Owó ò ga jara lọ o. Come for your jingle and advertisement at West Radio 89.3 FM. Gbogbo lẹ́gbẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́ àti lájọ̀lájọ̀. Ilé-iṣẹ́ ńláńlá àti kéékèèké. Ẹ̀yin ilé ìjọsìn pátápátá. Ẹ máa bọ̀. Ẹ wá gbé wò. Ẹ jẹ́ wò. Ẹ jọ́ wò. Ẹ tọ́ wò jọ́. Ọ̀gá ni mástà. Kí lẹ tún dúró ṣe náà? Ẹ má ṣe tàbí ṣùgbọ́n o. Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá sílé iṣẹ́ wa. Gbàǹgbà la wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ títì. Ilé funfun pẹ̀lú àwọ̀ búlù. West Broadcasting House ní Aláàfin Avenue Olúyọ̀lé Estate Ìbàdàn, Ọ̀yọ́ State, Nàìjíríà. Ẹ̀lú 07066165053 tàbí 08035093394. West Radio 89.3 FM. Ọlọ́run gbọ́ gbogbo ń tẹ́ fẹ́ ojú kan ló wà.
Efile Emma Yikuro, Wells Radio 89.3 FM. Níbẹ̀ gangan lẹ́wà.
Welcome back to the show. Ẹ káàbọ̀ padà sórí ètò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ Inside Oyo State ó náà lètò tó wà lórí afẹ́fẹ́ báyìí. Ètò tí a ti máa ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ìdàgbàsókè àti ìgbédìde ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ bó ṣe máa dùn lọ́dọ̀ mi tó máa dùn lọ́dọ̀ tiyín. Bí ojú ọjọ́ ṣe rí pẹ̀lú ọrọ̀ ajé, bí ojú ọjọ́ ṣe rí pẹ̀lú ojú ọjọ́ gan fúnra ẹ̀ bí gbogbo ẹ̀ tún ṣe rí. Tó jẹ́ pé kì í ṣe pé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ á kàn dùn wò fáwọn tó bá ń gbà bí kọjá nìkan, ṣùgbọ́n tá a dùn ún gbé fáwọn tá à ń gbé ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ gangan. And one of the major, when you talk about Oyo State, especially if you look at if you look at statement from NIMET, which is the agency that see to weather situation in our nation, Nigeria. Every time we get predictions or warnings rather as to flooding and its state in our nation, or your state will always be on that list. And when we started the show, I read a section of history dating back to the 1980 account of Omiyale, which is a flood in Ibadan, most especially the capital of Oyo State. The United States of America, the U.S. mission in Nigeria, has expressed sadness over the flood that struck Niger State, last week, leaving at least 151 people dead and displacing more than 3,000 residents. This was published, on their X, the verified X platform, expressing their deep sorrow and the devastating flood, in that state. And during this time, immense loss and hardship, and their heart, is with the grieving families in Niger State at the moment. They are holding in, they said, we are holding in our thoughts you and the federal and state emergency workers who are working to provide relief and alleviate the effect of the disaster. The disaster has triggered a significant humanitarian crisis in the state. According to the government of Niger State, the flood destroyed over 260 homes, as well as the key infrastructure, including township roads and major bridges in Mokwa and Raba. In response, President Tinubu on Saturday dispatched high-level delegation to the affected areas to assess the damage and support the ongoing, relief operation in that state. And that is with Niger State. I mentioned earlier that Oyo State is not new to flooding. In fact, from the fact that I have here, from history of the flood that happened in 1980, 3 individuals were key figures in the response in the 1980 flood disaster: President Shehu Shagari, Chief Bola Ige, and musician Chief Ebenezer Obey. And despite political differences, Shehu Shagari of the National Party of Nigeria, NPN, while the governor, Bola Ige, represented the Unity Party of Nigeria, UPN, and Shehu Shagari still displayed, statesmanship at the time. And that's because, of course, we're talking about people here and not politics. Within a week of the disaster on the 7th of September 1980, Shehu Shagari visited Ibadan to witness the devastation firsthand and offer his condolences to the people. He said, "I have seen a real disaster," he exclaimed during the visit to the affected site. He declared the flood a national disaster and urged immediate action to be taken. That's very similar to the statement made by President Bola Tinubu also here, condoning with the people of Niger State at a time like this. 1980 in Oyo, Oyo State, Ibadan to be precise, and also 2025 in Niger State, even when Oyo State's name is still on that list. Omiyale Agbaraya Shobu, what exactly is the way forward? We're going to be speaking in English and Yoruba, and with me in the studio this afternoon I have Chukwemeka Munachiso, our news editor. Chukwemeka is here, and Dikin Dan, also a public affairs analyst, is also in the studio with me to ensure that we dissect this both in English and in Yoruba. Let me start with Chukwemeka. Chukwemeka, let's talk about flooding in Oyo State. It saddens my heart to go back in history and see that condolence. Shehu Shagari did that in 1980. Bola Tinubu is doing that in 2025 again. It's almost as though at a time like this, condolence messages when such issues happen is not very far to our mouth. Sometimes you don't need a script to be able to pull that off. But the issue in itself, Oyo experienced this. I read that earlier. Prior to 1980, Oyo experienced significant flood in 1960, in 1963, in 1978, and most recently, 2011. Result of that, of course, the way we build around here, dumping water in waterways, and lack of planning and so on and so forth. Can you say anything has changed, especially from 2011, which is most recent in the line of things here?
You see, what is it? The evidence is clear that we are not a proactive people. Something that started happening since 1960. We are still talking about it in the 21st century. There is a problem somewhere. There is a failure in leadership. What we are seeing here is that, you know, we are talking about the rain, the havoc that took place in Niger State. But here in Oyo State, how are we prepared to make sure that there's no reoccurrence here? Because we remember 2011, you remember what happened here? The whole of this, that bridge was flooded. Many people couldn't go home. And even people were picking this catfish along the road. I don't know the farm that was affected. And till now government has been able to, the World Bank has helped us to do that bridge at Uluyole here.
Yes, that's the Honor River.
Yes, and Odono Kekere.
Yeah, but that also cut across the one at Ulugbode.
Yes.
At Akpata.
Yeah. But my fear now is that go to those bridges, look inside, you discover that there is no clearance of those grasses that are growing. If rain comes and there is flooding, I wonder where those flood water will pass. That's my fear. And Oyo people have not been able to imbibe this habit of dumping, disposing their refuge properly. Now, they came up with a private partnership participation, these people that go around, putting drums here and there. But people complained that bitterly that some of the areas where they are expected to come and carry those things, they don't come. So you discover that people burn their things. Some people throw it anywhere they see. Early in the morning, Ayo, just watch and see people in their cars throwing their refuse in a nylon bag indiscriminately. Anywhere they pass and nobody is looking at them, they will dump it anywhere. Because we have not been able to create Ibadan is not a Ibadan. Let me say this: I'm living here, but Ibadan is not a neat state. It's not. People here have not been able to get that habit of disposing their refuse properly. Government has tried. You know why? Because they brought in these refuse collectors, but people are complaining that they don't come, and we don't know where. And not many areas have these drums. In fact, it would have been a very good business if actually these drums were kept in all the households. Imagine in all the households in some areas having that drum. We won't have this problem of people dumping their things anywhere. But because there is no follow-up, government came up with that plan, and even these people that carry this refuse, if you see them, even the manner they carry these things, you begin to wonder, are they refuse disposal or dispersal? Because after they have left an area, go to that place, everywhere is littered. Because some of them don't have even the tarpaulin to cover those things. But the most important thing is that we are yet, that's why I call on the National Rotation Agency. There is a lot of work for them to do. Oyo State chapter. They are hearing us right now. Let them do a jingle in local languages and English, and let people understand that if you are dumping, if rain is falling now, go to most homes. You see children, their parents will encourage them, go and drop it inside the gutter. Go and drop it, and you don't know where this thing is carrying those things to. And at the end of the day, the drainages are blocked, and there's flooding. So the most important thing, we have not got that habit. It is yet to take root in Oyo State.
All right, still talking about flooding in Oyo State. Feda Setoyi nipa omiyale agbara ya shobu. What we can do? See, that is why it is inside Oyo State. We all must come to this town hall meeting on radio right now and begin to share our own ideas. What we think is the best way. Kila lero pa le se. Tikini iba ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ṣáájú 1960. Pẹ̀lú bí ìròyìn ṣe kójọ ṣáájú 1960 ni omíyalé ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ṣáájú 1980 ó tún ṣẹlẹ̀ ní 1960 náà ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní 63 ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní 78 ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ní 2011 ó ti di nǹkan tó yẹ ká jókòó ká bára wa sọ orientation èmi lérò pé that is where the problem is in itself, that people don't know yet, or they don't understand the gravity. Unfortunately, lives always go with it, and I believe that when lives, surround a particular issue, then it should be a wake-up call for all of us. But unfortunately, it is not. Let me come to Deacon Dan. Àwọn kìíní tó ti ṣẹlẹ̀, Odbiyale wo ẹjẹ́ àwọ̀ àwọn ọdún tó tẹ̀lé ara wọn léra tí mo ṣe sọ ẹ̀mí ń bá àwọn kìíní lọ. Ṣùgbọ́n ó ṣe ní láàánú pé ní 2025 àtúnṣe ń sọ nígbà tí NIMET tó sọ pé Ọ̀yọ́ àtúwà lórí ẹ̀. Kí làwọn nǹkan tẹ́yìn rí tó wà ńlẹ̀ báyìí tí ò ní jẹ́ pé ìjàmbá omíyalé òfin ní ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ọdún 2025? Mo mọ̀ pé lọ́dún tó lọ World Bank ti ṣe àwọn ọ̀nà river tán ṣe èyí tó gba Olúyọ̀lé tó lọ gba odò ọ̀nà kékeré láti àpáta, wọ́n ti fẹ ojú ẹ̀ dáadáa. Mo ti gba ṣáìdì bodè tí mo ti wọnú Ògùnpa láàrin kan tí mo rí pé inú ẹ̀ á mọ́ lọ́jọ́ míì, ẹ̀ tún débẹ̀ láwọn ọjọ́ míì á tó dà pé ojú ọjọ́ ọbẹ̀ yẹn pé ṣáwọn èèyàn tún dalẹ̀ síbí. Kí làwọn nǹkan tẹ́yìn ti rí gẹ́gẹ́ bí olùgbé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ àti ẹni tó ń wòye bí nǹkan ṣe ń lọ ń gbòòrò tí òjò bá tún le ní ọdún 2025 tá a fi ní omíyalé nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́?
Pé a lè má rí omíyalé nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ lọ́dún yìí, àfikọ́lọ́mbà wa dá sí díẹ̀.
Kí lẹ rí?
Ok, àkọ́kọ́ ní ọdún tó kọjá, nígbà tí òjò yẹn tó fẹ́ le díẹ̀, àwọn èèyàn tó wà níbi area mobile yìí, àwọn tó gbé níbi òkè yẹn súnmọ́ bí jọ́gọ́ yẹn,
ibi tí ọjà wà yẹn,
gbogbo àwọn ilé tó wà bẹ́ẹ̀ pátápátá, gbogbo àwọn dúkìá wọn pátápátá ló lọ. Then orí dẹ̀ yọ àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan bẹ́ẹ̀, omi ti ń gbé àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan lọ tó pé àwọn ará àdúgbò sáré dìde tó sáré gba ẹ̀mí wọn là, ìyẹn ní ọdún tó kọjá yìí. Láwọn ọdún sẹ́yìn bí ẹ ti ṣe sọ yẹn, àwọn ọdún yẹn ìgbà tí gbogbo àwọn odò, àwọn omi kọ̀ọ̀kan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn tí wọ́n ò tí, àwọn afẹ́rẹ́ tí wọ́n ti ṣe dáadáa làwọn omi yẹn fi pọ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n nísìnyí climate change ti wà. Irú ti Niger State yẹn nísìnyí ó kàn fi hàn irú ìhà tí ìjọba àpapọ̀ àti ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Niger tí wọ́n kọ sí ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn. Jebba Dam kò jìnnà síbi tí Mokwa yẹn wà. And Mokwa is a business hub. Farming ó pọ̀ nbẹ̀. Even there was a 10,000 hectares fún rice tó bàjẹ́ lọ́dún tó kọjá.
Lórí ọ̀rọ̀ omíyalé náà ni.
Omíyalé yẹn ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní Niger for the past 5 years, kò sí nǹkan tó ń ṣe sí. Ọdọọdún ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ńbẹ̀. Ó ṣẹlẹ̀ ọdún yìí around April. Wọ́n pé ó kọ̀ àṣẹ díẹ̀ nígbà tó ń ṣí dàmí ẹlẹ́ díẹ̀. Nísìnyí wá sí ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́, àwọn odò kankan wà tí ó pé kò ń ṣe àwọn odò ńláńlá tí ilé tó ti kọ́lé súnmọ́. Àwọn yẹn nísìnyí because climate change yẹn nísìnyí, òjò ò ní rọ̀ fún ìgbà kan, tó bá máa rọ̀ kò ní ṣe announcement, kò ní lọ pé NOA pé mo fẹ́ rọ̀ ẹ wá kéde o, ó kàn máa ya dé ni. Kò sí rain distribution mọ́, táwọn ní pé bí a òkè òjò máa rọ̀ bí a ọ̀sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ ọjọ́ tó wà máa rọ̀ akọ̀dálẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ kan wù. Lọ́jọ́ kan nísìnyí àwọn ilé tó súnmọ́ bí odò, kí ni ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ń ṣe nípa ẹ̀? Àwọn ibi tí wàhálà máa wà nìyẹn, kò ń ṣe àwọn bridges ńláńlá títí náà tá à ń gbà kọjá o. Àwọn ilé, àwọn agboolé tí wọ́n pé àwọn kan wà tó pé afárá wọn wọn ò tí ì ṣe, tí wọ́n pé odò wà ń bẹ̀. Ẹ̀dẹ̀ máa wá kẹ̀dẹ̀rẹ́, a lè kọ́lé, mo fẹ́ lò lẹ́mí tán pọ̀. So ọ̀dẹ̀ ní ṣe fẹ́ǹsì, àwọn mìíràn ṣe fẹ́ǹsì náà wó lulẹ̀. Kí ni ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ fẹ́ ṣe láti jẹ́ káwọn èèyàn mọ̀ pé òkè o nǹkan báyìí lè ṣẹlẹ̀?
Ṣẹ́rí tí ọ̀rọ̀ yín bá yé mi dáadáa ni pé ibi tí à ń fojú sí ọ̀nà onígbàbẹ̀ pẹ̀lú òjò tọdún yìí, pé kò ń ṣe irú àwọn afárá ńláńlá èyí tí Chukwuemeka sọ ti ọ̀nà river, wọ́n ti ṣàwọn yẹn, àwọn yẹn ti free. Ṣùgbọ́n àwọn agboolé, àwọn gádà tó ti já tíjọba ò tí ì ṣe.
Ìkan wà níbi ọ̀nà tá bá lọ sí Abẹ́sẹ̀ tó ṣe lọ́dún tó kọjá,
ó gbé mọ́tò méjì.
Àwọn ọmọ àti gbogbo ẹbí ló wà ní mọ́tò yẹn. Gbogbo yẹn pápátá náà inú òjò yẹn bó ṣe ń rọ̀ yẹn gbogbo àwọn tó gbé bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ́dìde wọ́n wá ọ̀nà bó ṣe dá mọ́tò yẹn dúró kó má bàa kọjá lọ ẹ wá wò pé kí wá jẹ́ bí alẹ́ ló ṣẹlẹ̀ tí ò sí àwọn èèyàn tó lè ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ ṣé mi ò ti lọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
ṣe rí ibi tẹ́ ti ẹ̀ dárúkọ yẹn mo ti gbogbo ọdún tó lọ ni mo fi sọ lórí ètò ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ó ṣe ni láàánú téèyàn bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn tó máa sọ fún yín pé inú ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ yìí náà ni wọ́n ti ṣe bíríìjì ẹlẹ́sẹ̀ onípákó tí mọ́tò àkóríbọ̀ ní odò kó tó jáde kódà ẹ̀ jiyàn wọ́n pè bẹ̀yẹn ní odò Gẹ́tímánì bí ẹni lọ sí Abẹ́sẹ̀ nídìí àwọn ní Ẹlẹ́bù yìí nìbàdàn yìí náà ló wà lọ́dún tó lọ ní odò yẹn ó gbé ṣé Tàkómà náà ń pe mọ́tò yẹn ó dẹ̀ gbé ṣubú tó ń wọ̀ lọ kó tó di kí wọ́n gbà padà. Omíyalé àgbàrá ya ṣọ́ọ̀bù, what do we do? 0916-893-1000 0916-893-2000 tàbí 0915-3334-893. tí àdúgbò tí ń bá jẹ́ àdúgbò tí ò ní gádà tó dá báyìí ẹ tètè kí gbé síta lórí ètò yìí ẹ sọ sáfẹ́fẹ́ kí gbogbo wa ó bá lè gbọ́ kí ìjọba náà ó bá lè dìde kí ìjọba náà ó bá lè wá nǹkan kan tó máa tètè ṣe láti dìde. I have this news here, Chukwemeka, that the Oyo State government, this was published by the Punch newspaper on the 17th of April 2025, that the Oyo State government has approved the immediate dredging of 11 rivers across state as part of the measures to prevent flooding as the rainy season begins. The Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Prince Dotun Yelade, disclosed the plan following the State Executive Council meeting held on Tuesday in the state. The dredging effort, which targets flood-prone areas including Iseyin, Oyo, Ibadan, Igbora, and Bomosho, is part of a broader strategy to protect lives and property in response to recent prediction by the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency and the Nigeria Meteorological Agency that several states, including Oyo, are at risk of significant flooding this year. Aside from some of the is it forest we call it now growing under the bridge, which is a concern for you. Do you also have any concern, or do you align yours with that of Dikindan, that we need to start looking at is it inward our state now, our streets, because some of these rivers they have a central channel, but there are smaller ones in each of the community, and they equally can cause chaos or problems for us.
There is, you can't discuss them in isolation, because what our behavior in the street as far as refuse dumping is concerned, we have a significant effect on flooding in the whole state. In a place where most of these gutters are channeled, if you look at Oduwele Estate, let's take example. Most of these gutters, even the one that passed here, they all ended up in that bridge. Imagine if somebody drops something here. Where do you think it is going to? It's going down to that bridge. And that bridge is going to Odonokekere. And Odonokekere is, and if those grasses that are growing within the bridge are not cleared, chances are that some of these structures along that path will be affected. Like the church very close to that bridge, like some of the houses, some houses were there before. They paid them off and demolished them. Even those that are still standing there, they are still at risk. As far as those things are not cleared, because if the flood water comes, I wonder how they are going to pass. So the most important thing is that government will, the people themselves are the problem. Government has tried its own. In fact, I cannot blame Sheyi Makinde on this score. I can't. He has done what, now this dredging we are talking about is a good one. If they dredge all these rivers they just mentioned, it will help. But if they dredge and people have not changed their habit, it will stay back to square one. So that's why I'm advocating for houses to have their own drums. And also this is even a very good employment opportunity. If they make it, if they open it up, and people begin to collect this refuse, it's a very big opportunity. You know, we brought somebody on this platform some time ago, as in this station, a young man that is into refuse collection. And he told us that he separates the nylon from other ones, so because they cannot be used together. And some of these ones that are not nylon can be converted into manure and into other things. Go to Hasule. Asule, the one that is at if you take a Tipa garage, as if you are going to Odonekekere, you see a mountain of refuge. Do you know people were coming to carry it before from this Oyo State to the north in trailers? Why did they stop? Because some people started harassing them. That before you collect this one, you pay money. I even took my friend there. Let me tell you something. How we create problem for ourselves. A friend needed me to do urban farming for him. Okay. And I told him that you cannot use any soil. Anyhow, you must look for humus soil. And the only way we can get it is, let's go to that dump site. As we were even scooping the sand, 2 young men came out and asked us who gave us permission.
Permission to scoop it.
Imagine. I said, does it warrant somebody being permitted to? He said, yes. That before I take any sand here, are you eating it? And that's how people, because if we are taking that thing away, we are even separating the sand from the nylon. People were coming from the north and they stopped them. And if they had allowed those people, that thing would have reduced. And you know that all the people living in that axis, as this rain is coming, many of them are going to pack away.
Why do you think? Because again, that's a concern, and the way people reason. That's why I agree with you that the orientation agency, there's a lot of work to do. Because I still think orientation is the challenge here.
It's a challenge.
If people die, maybe people don't understand the gravity of losing lives to issues like this. But why do you think people are still highly fixated to building their houses, along river bank?
Because of
the city center, you may not get to see much of that anymore. But when you enter the interland, you enter the street, we still have a lot of it.
Because
people still want to build.
We don't follow rules in Nigeria. It's a lawless country.
Then that's another question with town planning and the like.
Town planning, they see the sketch, and people will still go and build it. We don't follow rules because no consequences for any breach or misbehavior. So that's why we build. We know full well that this is water channel. People will still go and buy land there. Omonile, we sell anything to you. And you that even bought it, why should you go and build it? So, and before I digress, if you go to that Asule, once it rains now, the order in that area, brother, people living, and I've heard stories that people who built house there are not living there. You see empty houses, uninhabited, because you can't stand the stench coming from that place. How do people live in this place? And now people are coming to carry those things away, and you don't want people to carry it away. So all the refugees, they all go there and dump all of them. That's a very big dump site, and we can convert those things to manure if we have the technology. Those things are not waste. We are looking at them as waste, but they are not waste. There is something we can make do with them if actually we know how to process them.
All right, this is still Wells Radio 89.3 FM, and you're still listening to the program Inside Oyo State, coming to you from 89.3 FM Wells Radio. The Ibadan Urban Flood Management Project, IUFMP, was set up on the 7th of June 2014 by the Oyo State government with the funding and technical support of the World Bank in response to the devastating flood of the 26th of August 2011, which claimed about 120 lives and destroyed properties valued at tens of trillions or billions of naira. A joint preliminary assessment by the World Bank and the Oyo State government identified multiple and interconnected factors contributing to the growing challenges that Ibadan had with flood management. The Ibadan Flood Management Project is therefore aimed at developing a long-term flood risk management framework by initiating risk assessment, community awareness, and providing enough flexibility in the project design to make change based on learning. Dikinan, Ejen Wasadon, IUFMP, the Ibadan Urban Flood Management Project, set up 17th of June 2014. Tebanike Gbewon lepepele iṣẹ́ wọn bó lẹ ṣe sọ pé wọ́n ti ṣiṣẹ́ sí láti 2014 tó ti dá àjọ ìsílẹ̀.
Láti 2014 tó ti dá sílẹ̀ wọ́n ti ṣiṣẹ́ ribiribi díẹ̀. Àwọn náà ni wọ́n gẹ́ẹ̀tì wọ́n lára àwọn tí wọ́n lè tán ṣe òǹgbà bọ́ ṣe gẹ́ẹ̀tì the World Bank financing nígbà tí wọ́n identify gbogbo àwọn areas tí challenges wà díẹ̀díẹ̀. Alápá nǹkan tó sì ràn Ìbàdàn lọ́wọ́ dòní ni pé àṣejì rẹ̀ ó jìnnà díẹ̀ sílùú.
Bó nìyẹn ṣe jẹ́ bó ló ṣe kàn wá pẹ̀lú omi.
Àtàwọn other dams because táṣejì rẹ̀ bá ti kún kò ń ṣe tó bá ṣí kò sí láàrin ìlú kání wà láàrin tá ló súnmọ́ ìlú ó dẹ̀ tún fẹ́ ó pọ̀ ju irú ti Jẹ̀bá dam yẹn lọ ni nǹkan tá à ń sọ yìí kọ́ là bá máa sọ ṣùgbọ́n aṣáájú lọ pé most of the dams yẹn wọn ò súnmọ́ ibi tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn ń gbé so àwọn this agency now wọ́n ti identify àwọn ibi tí wàhálà wà díẹ̀ wọ́n dẹ̀ ti reduce wọn ara pa ẹ̀ ní tí wọ́n ṣe tó fi identify àwọn 11 areas tí wọ́n fẹ́ dredge so that wọ́n lè fẹ̀ díẹ̀ sí i tójú ọ̀nà yẹn bá fẹ̀ dáadáa omi á lè kọjá.
a lè gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ ń gbé ìpè yìí hello ẹ káàsán ìpè yẹn ti re ẹ lè pè wá padà 09168931000.
so a lè gba ibẹ̀ wọ́n lè gbà kọjá so nípa tibẹ̀ yẹn ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ wọ́n ń gbìyànjú díẹ̀ torí ẹ̀ ní ọ̀rọ̀ omíyalé yìí ló fi láti 2011 yẹn ló fi ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé ó rẹlẹ̀ díẹ̀ tí ò fi bẹ́ẹ̀ sí fàákàjà tí ò sí wàhálà púpọ̀ ṣùgbọ́n ìyẹn ò wá túmọ̀ wípé bóyá torí ẹ̀ o wọ́n ti ṣètò tọ́ àtẹ̀yìn tó yẹ èyí tó pọ̀ jù ń bẹ̀ ni pé àwọn tó ń gbé nípínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ kí ni ìṣesí wa sí ọ̀rọ̀ ilẹ̀ kí ni ìṣesí wa sí ọ̀rọ̀ flood nísìnyí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ilé ò ní drainage ọ̀ọ̀ni drainage nísìnyí àìní drainage wọn nísìnyí ó ń ba títí jẹ́ ó dẹ̀ tún máa tó jọba dẹ̀ pọ̀ sí nísìnyí ó máa ya àwọ̀ ọ̀dọ́ yín àwọn tó dẹ̀ kọ́ dẹ́sẹ̀ ẹgbẹ́ odò náà àwọn náà wọn ò ṣe drainage ìwọ̀n dẹ̀ fààyè sílẹ̀ níbi tó mi máa gbà.
ẹ jẹ́ mo pè hello ẹ káàsán hello yeah hello ẹ ti wọlé o ẹ káàsán hello ẹ ti wọlé sà ẹ káàsán hello.
orúkọ mi ni ọ̀làṣẹ́jì láti sọ̀rọ̀ níwí.
láti bó sà.
tàbí ìgbà sí orí bíríìjì yẹn ó lè di finishing títí bá ti rọ omi máa pọ̀ ń bẹ̀rẹ̀.
àgbórúkọ yín dáadáa sà àti àdúgbò wo sà. àgbọ̀ dáadáa sà orúkọ yín àtàdúgbò wo.
orúkọ mi tàlàfẹ́jì láti oríta challenge.
láti oríta challenge ó yá ẹ ṣàlàyé bíríìjì wo lẹ́ ń sọ.
bíríìjì odò sà odò ní bíríìjì ló ṣe lódò lẹ́lẹ́rìí yẹn sà.
ok tí odò ọ̀nà ilé
omi máa ń di finishing títí bá ti rọ omi máa pọ̀ ń bẹ̀rẹ̀.
ṣé bíríìjì ètò líǹkì oríta yẹn àbí.
ó lè di maintenance.
ètò líǹkì oríta mọ́ odò ọ̀nà iléwé yẹn àbí.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni sà omi máa pọ̀ lórí ẹ̀gbọ́n beach center. nítorí bá ti ń lọ báyìí omi máa fọ́ mi sáwọn ìlara.
ok all right Eshongo, Mr. Olatunji Eshongo. I think I know that bridge. Like if you're coming in from this axis, like the Akala Express, you're going towards Babalola Estate to link Orita Challenge. Yes. He said it's usually flooded
yes.
when it rains.
That's another problem also.
And I remember this bridge when it was constructed.
Yes.
It was constructed, I think, around the same time when this was initially constructed by the last administration.
Gap one, but there should be a gap within it so that there will be drainage. So because it's in, then the slope could form enough slope that way
let's look at this issue. It's usually painful because I know that when this Oluyole Bridge was set to be reconstructed last year, of course from the IUFMP and the World Bank initiative, whatever, at the time, for a lot of residents of Oluyole, like the last administration constructed this bridge, at about that time in 2011. Why are we doing any other thing? Because I know this used to be flooded at the time. Do we say that even our engineering design, we are not getting it right?
No. It's not engineering
or
design.
It's time is just, water is just reacting differently and then we just match up with it.
When it was done initially,
when
it was done initially, many houses didn't go down. But this time around, many houses went down. If you see this one now at Oluyole here, they expanded it. You understand? Many houses went down. Now, that one is the caller just mentioned between Akala Road and Orita.
Yes.
That one also, many houses went down. But some houses will still be affected.
Because there's still one particular house by that.
Yes, by the side of that, is still, that place is, I don't know whether the person has a leg in government. That's why they didn't bring it down. Because that man is living on top of a risk. You understand? If there is any overflow in that bridge, that house will go down. So that one also has a problem, and that's the one that link Odonekekere. So as it is, people are still dumping things inside those things.
Even inside that waterway.
So that's the problem. Orientation is the key. not just building structures without maintenance, without people knowing why did we build this thing, how do we maintain it. Government cannot be coming there to chase people away. It is the people in that environment that will stop people from dumping things there, knowing full well that if there's a problem, they will be heavily affected.
That's where we stand. Níbi tá a wà rèé pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ omíyalé ó ti fi hàn gbangba lórí ètò yìí pé iṣẹ́ wà fún gbogbo wa gẹ́gẹ́ bí olùgbé ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ nípa ìhùwàsí wa àti bí a ṣe ń dalẹ̀ sí ojú àgbàrá. Ìdọ̀tí òkùnkùn ní kóra ẹ̀ lọ sínú odò táwa ò bá da nǹkan sí. Ṣùgbọ́n ẹ jẹ́ wá sọ́dọ̀ Dikindan gẹ́gẹ́ bí akọ́ṣẹ́mọṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ àti bẹ́ẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Àwọn koríko tó ń wù nínú ojú omi yẹn tí Chukwuemeka sọ yẹn ṣó ṣe é ṣe kó ṣe ìpalára fún omi tí odò yẹn bá kún.
Omi ní ìwà kan omi ó máa wá ọ̀nà tó bá ṣe kọjá kò sí kan tó lè dá omi dúró tómi bá fẹ́ kọjá omi máa wá ọ̀nà tó máa fi kọjá. Nísìnyí ó fi hàn yí pé ibi ilẹ̀ yẹn kò ń ṣe àwọn ewé yẹn ò ń ṣe àwọn ewé tó yẹ pé waterways tó ń floating àwọn ewé tó yẹ pé wọ́n ní root lórí ilẹ̀ ni so ó yẹ kí wọ́n wá bọ́ ṣe máa gbọ́n àwọn iyẹ̀pẹ̀ yẹn kúrò tó bá gbọ́n kúrò omi yẹn gbogbo koríko yẹn náà máa kúrò ilẹ̀ ṣì hàn bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn iyẹ̀pẹ̀ táwọn omi àwọn odò yẹn tó ń wọ́ wá láti
bọ́ ṣe irú koríko yẹn ṣó ṣeé ṣe kó pa omi lára ẹlòmí á wọ́ ọ̀nà tiẹ̀ sọ kò lè ṣe pa lára fún un.
omi máa wọ́ náà kò lè dá dúró omi máa wọ́ náà tó máa fi kọjá. Ìdíwọ́ kàn ní pé ibi tí kánú wọ́n ti kó àwọn yẹ̀pẹ̀ kúrò nísìnyí space àlàfo máa wà fún omi yẹn láti ó máa reduce volume máa kọ́ reduce náà then tó bá dẹ̀ ń bọ̀ ló máa kún nísìnyí ó ti high sí so omi mẹ́wàá máa ga sókè síbi but àǹfààní ni pé ó gba àwọn kíni wọ́n ti fẹ̀ sẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ then wọ́n lè ti ṣe drainage pipes lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́gbẹ̀ tó yẹ pé omi yẹn ò ní lè di àwà lásìlẹ̀ so ìyẹn ò ń ṣe wàhálà kan tí ó àsọ tó ní títa máa torí ẹ̀ máa ní ìpàyẹ kéde pé wàhálà kan fẹ́ ṣẹlẹ̀ ìyẹn ò ń ṣe ìṣòro bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé kí ni ìhùwàsí àwa ọmọ Ọ̀yọ́ sí ọ̀rọ̀.
Chukwuemeka, let me get your last word and then we go on the show today.
The most important thing is that we should be fully aware of the things we do to the environment because we pay the price.
We pay the price. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time. Oluode Primary School, Ìjọba Ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́, Báwa dìde sí àti bridge tó líǹkì Oríta Challenge mọ́ odò ọ̀nà kékeré. Àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ méjì tó jẹyọ lórí ètò yìí fún ti òní ìkan nípa ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ìkan èkejì ẹ̀ nípa ọ̀rọ̀ omíyalé àti àgbàrá yọ ṣọ́ọ̀bù ní ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. Lágbára Ọlọ́run tó bá tún di ọ̀sẹ̀ tó ń bọ̀ á tún padà wá lórí ètò yìí. Ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ẹ má dalẹ̀ sójú àgbàrá ó ṣe pàtàkì nítorí pé tó bá ṣẹlẹ̀ tán àwa náà ní ó pa lára ibi ò ní kàn wá ẹ ṣeun tẹ́ ń gbọ́ wá.